I traded my youth, blood, and tears for Hollywood. And what I got in return wasn't always fair. At 50, Charlize Theron, the Ice Queen of Hollywood, has finally decided to break her silence. And what she reveals isn't a fairy tale romance, nor a string of dazzling successes, but 5 names. Once allies, lovers, partners, even family. Now they live in her memory as 5 knives, each wound deep enough to alter the course of her life. Who will be the first? And why did they become the nightmares that haunt Charlize's life? Stay until the end of the video, because this story isn't just about outrage. It's a blood-stained indictment filled with tears and honor. Charlize Theron was born on August 7, 1975, in Benoni, South Africa, a vast land of golden fields and radiant blue skies. She was an only child growing up amid simmering domestic violence. A father addicted to alcohol, temperamental, and often unleashing his rage on his wife and daughter. Tragedy struck when Charlize was just 15. On a stormy night, in a drunken fury, her father pounded on the door, screaming threats to kill both her and her mother. The moment the door burst open, her mother, Gerda, fired a gun and shot him dead in self-defense. That scene etched itself into Charlize's memory. That sound I will never forget. Her father's death was ruled a justifiable act, but it left a void in her childhood that could never be filled. Carrying emotional wounds, Charlize left her homeland at just 16, beginning her modeling career in Milan before heading to Hollywood. Her early years were marked by sleeping on friends' couches, surviving on instant noodles, and wandering from one studio to another. Then the breakthrough came. Her role in Monster 2003 earned her an Oscar, transforming her from an unknown immigrant into Hollywood's Ice Queen. But the peak of fame also opened the door to the abyss. Charlize soon became the center of a string of scandals that shook Hollywood. The media once exploded over her romance with Sean Penn, hailed as a power couple. But just months before their planned wedding, they abruptly announced their breakup. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some said Penn ghosted her without a word. Others claimed he suddenly cut off all contact, leaving Charlize stranded in the middle of multiple joint projects. Then came the on-set scandals, where she was labeled difficult to work with. Some male co-stars allegedly whispered to the press that Charlize was cold and arrogant, turning her into a target of vicious tabloid headlines. Hollywood is a playground for the powerful. In 2025, Charlize opened up on the Call Her Daddy podcast. Back in 1994, when I was still very young, a famous director invited me to his house for a casting. When I arrived, he answered the door in silk pajamas, placed his hand on my thigh, and stroked my back. Charlize ran out immediately, later stating, "I was clearly not there for my acting skills. I was just sex to be sized up. And when you stand up to the powerful, the price you pay is the role you lose." I couldn't believe it, but that's Hollywood, Charlize said coldly. Now at 50, she's decided to tear down the veil of silence. She's written down 5 names, 5 men and women who left the deepest scars on her career and life. Are you ready to hear that list? Don't look away, because this story will hit you with raw emotion from the very first second. The first, Sean Penn, Hollywood's most expensive disappearing act. They once sent the media into a frenzy. Sean Penn, the legendary bad boy of American cinema, and Charlize Theron, the icy rose who could set any lens ablaze. On the red carpet, they looked like a king and queen stepping out of a Hollywood fairy tale. Wedding rumors were everywhere. Private vacation photos leaked, and promises of forever echoed before hundreds of cameras. But behind closed doors, a silent battle was brewing. Sean, according to one of Charlize's close friends, had a volatile temper, easily angered by the smallest things. Charlize, strong and fiercely independent, refused to bow down. The tension quietly built until it exploded like fireworks in the night. One morning, Charlize woke up, and he was gone. No warning, no message, not even a note on the kitchen table. Her phone simply said, "No signal." Within 24 hours, tabloids screamed, "Sean Penn and Charlize Theron call off engagement." But what left her frozen was the next headline. Sources say Charlize was the one who ended things cold and hard to love. Months later, they ran into each other at a fundraiser in Los Angeles. Amid the crowd, their eyes met. No love left, only ice. Sean, with a half smile, whispered, "You know this game. I just made the first move." And in that moment, Charlize understood the real reason. He didn't leave because the love was gone. He left because he couldn't stand the fact that she would never live in any man's shadow. That wound didn't just scar her heart. It became a brutal reminder that in Hollywood, even love can be used as a pawn in the game of power. The second, Uma Thurman, a silent war between two warrior queens. Years ago, when Charlize signed on for a major action project, the name Uma Thurman unexpectedly appeared on the cast list. At first, the media dubbed it a powerhouse pairing of two silver screen queens, but behind the scenes, the atmosphere was thick with tension and rivalry. According to a crew member, Uma remained distant, deliberately avoiding interaction with Charlize. Whenever they shared a scene, Uma would alter her lines or delivery to dominate the frame, forcing Charlize to constantly adjust just to keep pace. Rumors spread fast. Uma was reportedly unhappy as the role was initially eyed for her, but ultimately went to Charlize. Things came to a head when confidential, unflattering stories about Charlize suddenly surfaced in the press, information only someone on set could have leaked. No one admitted to anything, but all eyes turned toward Uma. From that moment on, a quiet battlefield formed between them. Smiles on the red carpet, but under the surface, undercurrents strong enough to drown anyone who let their guard down. Charlize once confided in a friend, "In the movie, I could take on 100 enemies, but on that set, I only had one, and she never let me forget it." The third, Stuart Townsend, a 9-year love that vanished like a bubble. In 2001, Charlize met Stuart Townsend on the set of Trapped. No fireworks, no spotlight, just two young actors sharing a scene and a genuine smile. From that moment on, they were inseparable. Stuart wasn't an A-list star, but he gave Charlize something she rarely found in Hollywood: safety. For nearly a decade, they built a life together in Los Angeles and later in Dublin. Charlize once said, "He was my family. I didn't need a marriage certificate. We were already husband and wife." They didn't flaunt their love in the media, but close friends knew Stuart was someone she trusted completely. Yet beneath the calm, small cracks began to form. Stuart started to grow resentful as Charlize continued landing major roles while his own career stalled. According to a friend, arguments about work and their future became more frequent. Then, during a vacation in Mexico in 2010, Charlize sensed something had shifted. His hand no longer held hers tightly. Their eyes no longer searched for each other. A few weeks later, after returning home, she ended the relationship. There was no cheating scandal, no public drama. But for Charlize, it was a silent betrayal. The breaking of a promise to face all of life's ups and downs together. 9 years of love, now reduced to an emptiness and a box of photos tucked away in the back of a drawer. The fourth, Angelina Jolie, a queen versus queen battle on Hollywood ground. For years, Charlize Theron and Angelina Jolie existed on parallel tracks, both reigning over Hollywood, both pursued for blockbuster roles, yet always avoiding direct confrontation. Until one day, a high-profile action drama script, rumored to be tailor-made for Charlize, unexpectedly landed in Angelina's hands. Rumors claimed Charlize turned it down due to scheduling, but according to someone on the production team, Angelina had actively intervened, leveraging her power and producer connections to buy the project. complete with a clause barring Charlize from appearing in any competing film during that awards season. Had it ended there, Charlize might have swallowed her pride in silence. But months later, after she signed on to lead a major studio film, an internal email leaked, allegedly written by Angelina, stating, "We need a more cooperative face, someone with less personality." The message spread through Hollywood like wildfire, an unspoken warning. Charlize is difficult to work with. Charlize's fury erupted. She knew that in an industry where image is everything, such a statement was more than a slight. It was a knife to the heart of her reputation and career, and what stung the most was that it came from another woman, a fellow actress, someone who knew all too well the pressure women face in Hollywood, yet chose to weaponize it against her. From that point on, it wasn't a Cold War. It was scorched earth. Every shared frame, every joint appearance became a silent showdown. Every glance, every smile charged like dynamite. The final one, Tom Hardy. Mad Max, Fury Road. From the very first moment they met on set, the atmosphere turned colder than the African desert. Tom Hardy, wild by nature, chronically late, dismissive, acting as if the entire film was his personal stage. Charlize Theron, an Oscar-winning star, professional, disciplined, and with high expectations, clashed with him instantly. And it wasn't just a professional conflict, it was mutual disdain, deep to the bone. The tension exploded over Hardy's constant lateness, which delayed production in the searing heat. Charlize couldn't stay silent. She knocked on his trailer and said bluntly, "You're wasting the effort of hundreds of people." Instead of owning up, Hardy glared at her like a cornered animal. The hostility became so intense, Charlize had to request security to escort her on set. She was genuinely afraid. Things escalated during a major scene. Amid the red dust and roaring engines, Tom Hardy shouted at her loudly, aggressively, in front of the entire crew. No one spoke up. Charlize stood there shaking, but she didn't back down. Later she said, "I felt trapped, not by the role, but by my co-star." But the more painful truth, the entire crew knew and stayed silent. They treated the conflict as fuel for the performance. The director didn't intervene. The producers said nothing. So for months, Charlize lived in a psychological war zone. Every time she stepped out of her trailer, she had to take a deep breath and brace herself. Every face-to-face scene was a battle between pride and fear. 5 people, 5 knives. Each cut left a scar, some visible to the world, others buried so deep only Charlize could feel them. Love that vanished overnight. Co-stars who turned the stage into a battlefield. Power wielded through silence to strangle opportunity. Friends who turned on her for gain. Charlize Theron still stands, proud, radiant, walking red carpets as if she's never stumbled. But look closer and you'll see every step she takes is a battle won. Every smile a wall hiding the storms within. She once said, "Forgiveness is a choice, but I don't owe it to anyone." And maybe it's because of those very cuts that today she's not just a symbol of beauty, but of strength, resilience, and unshakable freedom. And you? Of those 5 names, which one shocked you the most? Leave a comment, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe so we can keep uncovering the untold stories the world has never heard.